Let's jump on into another week. Get some clarity, get some good training in. Let's have a good lesson, good call, good training. But I need to go to barber so we can get going in our normal fashion, and then we're gonna jump into it, see what we got for tonight. So over to you, Barbara.
Yes, sir. Here is our disclaimer for Futures and Commodities Trading Group. Trading and investing carries a high level of risk. You could lose some or all of your investment. Trading commodities or any other financial instrument may not be suitable for all investors. Before deciding to trade, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. We accept no liability for any losses or damages you may incur. This means you alone are responsible for your actions in any trading or investing activities.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Very important. All right. So as we always do, after Barbara get us right and get us in compliance, we always go to Dr. Mel to make sure we have quizzes to take care of to go over. Dr. Mel, are you ready for?
Yes, I am. Yes,
Okay.
I am. So the
Over to
first
you.
quiz was on July 14th, which is the day after our last class. And it says, a fundamental trader uses the charts to make their trading decisions. True, false, not sure. A fundamental trader uses the charts to make their trading decisions. I have Ezra, he says false. Everybody agree with Ezra, or somebody has something different? Okay, so I don't hear anybody saying anything different from Ezra. So the answer is false. Very good. Fundamental trader does not use the charts to make their trading decisions. What does a fundamental trader use to make their decisions?
Reports, blogs, anything but news.
Awesome. Very good, Miss Joyce. Thank you. The next quiz question. The next quiz question. If you are going long the market, you have to place what type of order? A sell order, order to go, a buy order, not sure. Question again. If you are going long the market, you have to place what type of order? A sell order, order to go, buy order, not sure. I have Tanya, she says a buy order. Anybody says anything different? All right. Buy order it is. So if you're going long the market, you have to place a buy order to enter the market. Very good. Next quiz question.
I thought it was order to go through Uber Eats.
When the market trades up or down so many points that the trading is halted, this is called false start, paper trading, limit move, day trading, not sure. Question again.
Ooh.
When the market trades up or down so many points that trading is halted, this is called false
Limit
start,
move.
paper trading, limit move, day trading, not sure.
Limit move.
Miss Joyce saying limit move. Tanya saying limit move, C, limit move. Anybody have anything different than limit move? Okay, the limit moves have it. And those were all the questions. Boy, we went through those really quick. We got some sharpshooters tonight, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, they were paying attention last week.
Yeah,
Nice.
excellent.
Yeah. Johnny went over the limit move and then we had a video that we watched from limit up, and then we went over fundamental and technical trading. Everybody was paying attention. Very good. Very good. Now, I want to make sure we remember that we had a quiz a while, 3 weeks ago. I want to remind everybody that that quiz that I posted, it was a quiz, and it was also asking if you guys would do something, if you've been getting value and appreciate being in the group, in the community, and getting any lessons and training. So I want to remind everybody again, if you be so kind, take a few minutes, leave a review on the book. We really would appreciate that. If you would take a minute, leave a review. If you've been getting value from the call, from being a part of the community, whatever, coming to the retreat, whatever you want to share, we would really appreciate if you could leave us a review. That would be very helpful. So that's just my reminder to everybody for the small favor I want to ask. So appreciate that in advance. All right. Let's what oh, there goes the manual right on the screen. Very nice. This is a book teaching people what? Barbara, what is this book teaching?
One of the best ways to build wealth, which is through trading futures and commodities.
Oh man, yeah. Awesome book, great book. If you don't have that book, it would be very helpful if you had that book, because it will help you as we go through these trainings every week. As we get in here on Sundays and train on the lessons, you'll be able to get some training on what you're reading, what you're seeing in the manual as you go through the lesson. So very important to get that manual. So make sure you get a copy, whether it's the ebook, paperback, or the hard copy. Get your hand on that manual. Right. Thank you for that, Barbara. What we got this week? Uh-oh. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Series on level of trend lines. Then we talking about trend lines. That means we gonna be getting into charts, Barbara. It's gonna be I think we pretty much gonna be on charts pretty much the rest of the way, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, let's jump on in. And everybody can see where the trend line can be found in the manual. Very nice. All right. Anybody want to cover this slide? See if anybody want to talk about this. Or y'all want me to do it? All right. I got it. Learn about support level. So we know when we're looking at charts, prices moving up and down, and trends get formed on the charts. And there's something that happens where sometimes prices run into an area where it may have a little challenge trying to get through that particular area. And these areas, are very significant on the chart when it comes to the system that we teach and we follow, the one that we use. The area that we're going to be covering, going over, very important to our system. So one of those areas that, on the chart what you might see the market having a little challenge right through it is called support. Support. The support level on the floor, on the chart, that also can be referred to as the floor. Another word we may use for support could be the floor. And this is where prices are having a challenge. We're getting through this particular area, and it's called support level. Dr. Melville, you mentioned to us before about on the support, like sitting in a chair. I believe you used it as an example.
Exactly. That's how I see support. I see it the same way as someone sitting on a chair. They're expecting that chair to hold them up, and they're not going to go any lower than the seat of that chair. And so when you look at support on a chart and you notice it almost looks like an imaginary line has been drawn that you can actually sit on that part of the chart, because the market doesn't seem like it wants to go any lower than that. And so that's how I differentiate between the different levels. When I look at the chart, I see it as a chair that you sit on.
Nice, yeah. And I'm always reminded of that, when we standing, if I stand up, what's gonna be supporting me when I stand up? The floor. And we need to understand that same thing can be basically found and seen on a chart where prices may hit an area where it have trouble trading through it. And this is a very important level that we pay attention to when we watch. And one of them is called support. But you also can refer to support as the floor. Yeah, but that's a great illustration, Dr. Melville. Now, there's another area when it comes to the market having a challenge with trading through. The opposite of support would be what's called resistance. So we'll get into that in a minute. But as we talked about support, Barbara, talk to us about this chart you got right here.
This is a corn December 25 chart, and it represents levels of support where you see the horizontal line is drawn. These represent what you just said, your floor, your levels of support. And we're going to go through it in more detail. You'll see it on every chart, but this would be considered the bottom, the lowest, points of price on the chart. And as you see, it consistently made that throughout the different time of trading.
Can I say something?
Please.
Yeah. So this class tonight, folks, is one of the most important classes that you will learn, because the fundamentals we're teaching tonight governs everything that you're looking for on the charts. And so if you're not able to see what it is that we're explaining, by all means, at the end of the class, ask questions, because this is a critical class. You have to be able to see what it is we're explaining in order for you to train your eyes on the charts to see this over and over and over again, because this is the foundation for actually trading the way that we're taught in this class, on these different classes to trade. So hopefully everyone, the lines that Barbara has drawn on this chart, she's drawn those lines so that we can start training our eyes to see those lines from an imaginary level. So whenever you look at charts without Barbara drawing lines, you should be able, over time with practice, to flip through the charts and to be able to see an imaginary line that's not there. And then you can actually draw the line that Barbara's drawn on each of your charts, because you'll train your eyes to see the same spot almost. And a lot of times we draw a line, but it's really a zone. Okay. So like you can see some of the lines on the chart touches the horizontal line that you're looking at, and some of the vertical lines are not touching the horizontal line that she's drawn. And it's really, it's a zone of support, you know, so that you can see there's a little, some of the horizontal lines or bars are above, you know, and some of them fall below. But it's kind of, when you look at it, try and be able to see, it's kind of like a zone that the market prices is bouncing off of, and it's not easily trading below that area. And so that's why we look at it as a support or a floor for the market, because it likes that zone of trading. It doesn't want to go any lower than that. At some point, like you saw, it may, but sometimes it doesn't. It just sits at that zone of support because it likes it there. It's a comfortable place for the buyers and the sellers. Okay.
Johnny, did you want to take this, my friend?
Okay, we want to learn, oops. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Learning about trend lines. The trend line, this is used in order for traders in the market to see the level of support. Now, what we just saw was support. Now, what does that mean? That means the sellers refuse to sell below a certain point. Okay. One thing that we want to know about trend lines is the trend is your friend. So if we're going to be in an uptrend, a downtrend, whatever, the trends tend to stay the same. All right. So you on next slide? All right. So what we have here is, again, corn 25. And what we're looking at is we first start looking at a downtrend, right? And how do we know that? We know that by the market traded down to a level of support and continued down for a period of time. Now, we call this line on the bottom the support line, and every time it touches it, if it touches it 3 or more times, then we've established a trend. In this instance, it's a downtrend. Okay. So, and actually we see that it touched it at least 4 times on its way down. All right. Now, it's important to know that if sellers, if the market is selling off in a downtrend, that you don't want to buy into this market if it's going down. So this is where we'll learn how to sell into this market and profit by its going down. If you'll notice, then it changed and started a brief uptrend before it fell again, right? So, and then if you look to the right, far right, you'll notice again that it flattened out into an area of support in a sideways trough. All right. Next slide. Conversely, if the market is going up, we call that the ceiling. And this is where buyers are buying up the market, but they will buy up to the point that they won't pay anymore, and it'll reach its ceiling or a period of resistance. And this is a level where the price might reverse and go lower. It also slows the pressure for the price moving up. So next slide. The different, I guess it's important to, so we've covered three things: support, resistance, and trend lines. So there's, if you'll notice in this slide, opposite from the other slide, notice where the lines are drawn on top. And this is where the market tried to trade up, hit resistance, and turn back down. Okay. This, you could actually draw a horizontal line on top and a horizontal line on bottom that would show both resistance and support for this trend. And this trend would happen to be a sideways trough. Okay. Next slide. So learn about trend lines. The trend lines, this is used in order for traders in the market to see the level of resistance and the level of support, to see what is the trend that has been established, because remember, the trend is your friend. You don't want to try to buck the trend. Next slide. Again, this represents a downtrend, and you can draw the line on both top and bottom. But this shows a downtrend followed by a short-term uptrend, and then it reversed again. But resistance is on the top and support is on the bottom. Okay. This, we want to look at a reversal. So if we, and this is kind of what we talked about a minute ago, you're looking at an uptrend followed by a downtrend. And we can draw the lines on top and bottom to show if it's going up or if it's going down. Sometimes if you look on the trend on the right, that's a longer drawn, if you'll notice, both of those seem to be about the same time frame. All right, between the up and the downside, but they're formed a little bit differently. But this is why you look at the tops and the bottoms of that trend. And actually on the right, you'll see that, I don't want to confuse anybody by calling it a triangle, but it's the bottom of it, the support is pretty much equal, but the downside shows shows the top. So what is an uptrend? An uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows. And a downtrend is a series of lower highs and lower lows. All right. One thing
You
that,
know what, Johnny? Can I ask a question real quick, Johnny?
yes, sir.
Just to, I want to make sure everybody understands that the trend lines are very important. We're not drawing trend lines on the chart just to draw them, but it helps you to see something that you wouldn't normally be able to see as clear if you didn't put the trend lines on the chart. But I want to ask Johnny, Barbara, Dr. Mel, do any one of y'all trade without using trend lines?
No.
No, I do not.
Because there's several reasons. One is if it's in an uptrend, I want to know if it's continuously moving up that trend. In other words, I draw my lines farther on out on top and bottom until it breaks either the upper or lower trend line to tell me whether or not there's a change in direction. So absolutely, I don't trade without a trend line.
Yeah, me neither. Absolutely not at all. Now, what I want to do, if it's all right with you, Barbara, if we can we pause right here for a second and actually go to bar chart and show everyone how to draw the trend line on the chart, on bar chart?
Yes, sir. That's what we were going to next anyway, to bar chart.
Okay,
Right on cue.
great. Yeah, I asked that question. I want everybody to understand the significance of, like Dr. Miller said, what we're talking about with support resistance and trend lines. This is very important to come to the chart.
Where would you like to go? Any particular market?
Stay with corn.
Corn? Okay. So this is the home page for bar chart.
Yeah.
Click futures. I have to be logged in to save the information. I'm not. But you have to log into your free bar chart account to save all your information that you're gonna do. So I'm gonna click grains because that's in the grains market. It's gonna give me all the commodities for grains. I'm gonna choose corn, December 25. I'm gonna choose this contract month, December 25 for corn. That's where I'm gonna go. And I'm not logged in, like I said. I'm gonna click full chart to pull up the full chart for corn. Here we go. Okay, you want me to draw the trend line?
Yeah. Now, how would we get the trend line and then walk us through how to put that on the chart?
Okay, so over here to your far left is pretty much your tools for bar chart that you want to use to mark up your chart with. If you click this little arrow right here, it gives you different type of lines that you can draw on the chart. We want the first one. Once you click this, then it stays right there automatically. And you take it and you get in the area of the chart that you want to begin to draw. So this is a top formation going in a downtrend. So I want to start from the top and I want to draw all the way down. So I'm going to drop it here and I'm going to draw it. I'm going to draw it straight down. And I'll make it bigger. It's kind of a blank chart, so it may not be that easy to see. Let me give it a color so everybody can see it better. So that's my trend line that I drew from the highest price on the chart all the way down. And you see where it touches the first point and it touches here. But you know it's in a downtrend because you see price is steadily doing what? It's going down to come actually to the lowest, then it started to trade back up here. So it started from the highest part on the chart, highest price, traded down in this direction. So I also want to capture the bottom as well, because not only do you have this, but you want to see the whole trade where it's going. And let's just say if none of this was here and we started here. So once you drew it, you can continue drawing as time go on, and it can give you the bigger picture and help you to see how the trade is in the direction that price is going in. That's why it's very important to draw these, because at some point it's doing what it's doing now. It's changing directions. It's going to go back up.
And so Mr. Johnny said something earlier about a downtrend, which is really important for us to remember and make a note of. So when you look at a downtrend, you're noticing that your support and resistance levels are making lower highs and lower lows. And so if Barbara can start at the high, the first high, okay, and then it goes to a lower low. Then it goes to a lower high. And then it goes to a lower low. And so that's how you know you're in a downtrend. It's because you're seeing lower highs and lower lows consistently over and over in on the chart. Okay, and that's really the definition of a downtrend. You're seeing lower highs and lower lows.
Can you scroll to the
This way?
no, the other way? And can you draw your lines out further?
Yes.
All right. So if the trend continues, and this is what I was trying to say without trend lines, if the trend continues, then I'm expecting it to trade back down to support again, as long as it continues. And on that top line, can you kind of squeeze it down a little bit to where it's more touching the, there you go. If this trend continues, it should continue. But if it breaks that upper trend line, all right, then I've got to start looking at a reversal. All right. So this is why I utilize the trend lines as tight as I can to see, is this thing continuing on the trend or is it breaking out for a reversal? Okay.
Over here, Barbara. Draw that uptrend, that trend line on the
You're right.
uptrend.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you.
Okay.
You wanna- Oh,
Did you use a different color this time?
oh, wait a minute. Let me do it. Let me give you a different color than the green. They give you blue that time, this time. Yeah.
So that my point here is, so this was an uptrend and I could follow it as long as it would take me until such time, because I was getting higher highs and higher lows until it broke the trend line. And when it broke the trend line, that gave me my reversal.
Nice, nice. And this is why Johnny said that the trend is your friend. You want to be trading with the trend. Remember, that's 1 hour rule. You know, trade with the trend. If you're trading against the trend, you're trading against your friend. So remember that the trend is your friend, and you always want to be on the right side of the trend. And if you want to know if the trend is changing, you always want to have your trend lines on the chart. It's gonna help you see, gonna give you a better visual of what's going on the chart. As you can see, Johnny was talking about that market trading up in the trend line and in the uptrend, and then the trend changes. Does everybody see? Well, we broke the trend line. We had an uptrend all the way up, and then you see where the market traded through that trend line, and then what happened? After we broke the trend line, we got into a downtrend. Came down, hit some support. And we hit support, we traded up. As we traded up from that, we started to see that we started establishing the market may be changing and starting to go back up a bit. So it traded back up to the trend line. And what happened? We hit the trend line and the market changed direction again, started trading back down. It's so much clearer and easier to see when you put the trend line in the chart. So thank you so much. Excellent.
Anywhere else you want to go on bar chart?
We could do one more chart. Let's do one more. You know, give us one more example. So,
Okay, any particular market?
well, I'm in a hog trade, so let's go to hog.
That's livestock, everyone. You're in October or December or August? Which one you want to do?
August.
August, okay.
Looking at this, you should be able to see exactly what we just got to going over. We just talked about right there. You have an uptrend and a down. We talked about support and resistance. Support will be our floor. Well, where would our floor be at on the chart? What's our lowest price on the chart?
This is gonna be your floor.
So if we see our floor is right here, we know we get the trend line. We want our trend line to start from the floor. And what happened? Market got into an uptrend. Johnny gave us definition, and then Dr. Miller went over how do we establish a trend? But we see the market started and got into an uptrend. And if you draw your trend line on the chart, you can see the uptrend. But what's going to take place? Same thing we just saw on the corn chart. At some point, the market's gonna break through that trend line. When it break through that trend line, we heard Johnny say he's looking at the fact that he may need to get, be getting ready to get out of the trade because the trend is changing. And what happened? We got into a downtrend, broke the trend line, which would have been support on the trend line. Now we can see we got into a downtrend, and we draw our trend line and show the downtrend. And at the very top of that trend line, what is that? That's our ceiling. That's our resistance up at the top. So exactly what we just talked about went over. We got support resistance. We're using our trend line to help us see the trend, and when the trend is broken and the trend starts to change. But we want to use our trend line so it can help us, so definitely help us be able to see much clearer what's going on the chart. So this is the actual trade that I'm in. And I'm trading this market to the downside. But the thing is, you heard Johnny talk about the fact that we had a sideways channel or something that we talk about and look for. And you see that we traded all the way up to resistance, and then we traded sideways, and then we started trading down. That's exactly what happened on the chart. Traded up, then sideways, and then we started trading down. Anything you want to add, Dr. Melvin? Like you in this trade too?
Yes, I am. Fun, fun, fun. No, the only thing I wanted to add was with the uptrend with the two yellow lines, always train your eyes to see with an uptrend, you're going to see higher highs and higher lows. Higher high, higher low. Wait, do it slowly, Barbara. So you start at the low where she has the number 1. And then it goes up and makes a higher high where it's touching the trend line. Then it goes down and makes a higher low where she put the number 3. Then it goes back up again to touch the trend line and it makes a higher high. Then it goes back down again and it makes a higher low. So you, with an uptrend, you're making higher highs and higher lows. And you have to be able to train your eyes to be able to see that when you flip through your charts to identify whether the market for that commodity is in an uptrend or a downtrend. And if you look at the purple lines, you're going to start seeing, you're going to see a high. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see a lower low touching the trend line. Then you're going to see a lower high. And all that means it's a high, but it's lower than the first high. And then you're going to see a lower low. All that means it's lower than the first low. And it just, the market continues to oscillate back and forth like that. And that's how you're verifying the difference between an uptrend and a downtrend when the market's changing from one trend to the other. And it's just a matter of looking at charts over and over and over and identifying higher highs, higher lows, lower highs. And once you do that over and over, it becomes easier and easier to spot the trend that's your friend.
Very good, everybody. Very good. So, do we have any more slides, Barbara, you want to go over?
No, we went over.
Okay. Well, excellent. We heard Dr. Melville make sure she put emphasis on at the beginning of the call how important what tonight's information was. The system that we use is very, very significant with resistance and support. Support, resistance and support. It's the main thing of the system. So That's why we want to make sure you understand how important it is to learn, support, and resistance. So that's what this system is going to be all about, support and resistance level. So may not pick it up and get it all in one training. Looking at chart, remember Dr. Melvin just mentioned over and over and over and over. This ain't gonna just something you're gonna just snap the fingers and get looking at it one time. So want to look at charts over and over and over, and it's gonna make sense to you. So I always like to make sure I mention don't feel no way if you don't get it yet. We looked at charts and we didn't get it at one point before too. So the more you look at these charts, boy, it makes sense. Barbara wasn't always able to look at the chart and mark it up like she did tonight. She make it look easy, but she can tell you at one point she wasn't able to do that. It comes with practice. It comes with using bar chart, going to bar chart, going on charts, looking at the charts. The more you look at them, you'll see what's going on the chart. So we're gonna open up for Q&A. This is a very important lesson, so I know we gotta have some questions or comments. So the floor is open. Anybody got any questions?
We got
Hello?
two hands raised and one question in the chat.
Hello?
Hello, who's that?
Oh, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is so I have this may be weird, and I have all the weird questions. So I understand the uptrend and the downtrend. I pretty much have that. But are there ever situations where there's a period of time where instead of the graphs growing up or down, that it pretty much stays in the middle, like having a bird's eye view for any long period of time? I guess that's still actually a trend because it still will go up and down a little, but I'm speaking like very little for like maybe days.
Absolutely. Did you hear when we talked about the market trading sideways, basically going sideways across the chart? That's pretty much what it sounds like you're referring to.
That's sideways. And so okay, so did you go over like how are you able to determine
Oh, you broke up a little bit, Renee.
whether
Say that again.
how would you be able to use that and determine any trades you want to make if it's really not moving, if it's pretty much staying sideways? If it stays sideways, do you actually make trades? Do you stay where you are? Do you just leave it and just wait?
Great question. Great question. Did you see the last chart we went over?
I just did, yes.
And I talked about the fact that I was actually trading that chart, that market.
Okay.
I entered that trade based on the question that you have. Okay. So, Barbara, is this a hog chart?
Yes,
Can you clear the chart? Can you clear the chart for me for a second?
yes. There you go.
Okay. So at the very top of that uptrend, you see the market start trading sideways. Are you able to see that, Renee, or do you need
Yes.
Barbara to highlight that?
Yes.
Okay, we can highlight it if you want to, but that sideways channel is where there's an opportunity to get into a trade. You know, when we start talking about, you know, how we enter trades and how we exit trades, you know, we're gonna get into that. But this is exactly you know, we're going to the question that you asked. That sideways channel is a trade opportunity. The market is going to break out of that channel at some point, Renee. It's going to trade sideways, but at some point it's going to either break out to the downside or it's going to break out to the upside. And we have a strategy that we use to take advantage of getting into a trade when the market's doing that. And that's how I entered into the hog trade. Exactly the question you were asking. It was trading in the sideways channel, and I was in position to catch the market when it came out the channel, start trading down. Does that answer the question?
Yes. Yes. I'm sure there was some kind of strategy to it, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't quite, well, you
Yeah.
answered my question, but I guess that is, something that you have to be seasoned to do at some point to know whether, okay, once it breaks out, is it going up or down? And I guess you see from the future or from the past, well, not from the future, but from the past, which way it's going to go. But I guess that's also based on the current events or whatever else.
Well, actually, it's something that we are going to do some training on. We just hadn't got to that yet.
Okay.
But actually, what you was asking was a current live trade that I'm in based on the question you asked. So I wanted to show you an example. Now, let me also show you this. That sideways channel at the top of the chart where I just pointed out, but Barbara, I actually missed that, Renee. Okay, it did that channel, and I missed it. I wasn't watching hard when it made that channel and then broke out to the downside. But guess what? Do you see what happened down the road as it was down? What it was trading down?
Yes.
It went into another sideways channel. Do you see that?
Yes.
That's the one I caught and entered. That's when I got in. So it actually went sideways again, and that's when I got in the market. So it's a strategy that we have to get in, how we do it. We will be talking and training about that on another call, though.
Okay. Thank you so much.
But let me say something too, just to make sure you know. You said something I wanted to touch on, and I want you to know this so you won't feel this way again. On these calls, there's no such thing as a weird question, okay?
Yes.
Any question you have is a good question. I bet you somebody else on here learned from that question. So it wasn't weird at all, okay? Thank you.
I think P. Brooks, you put a question in the chat. You want to ask your question, or you just want us to read it?
Well, I think he answered it by saying that we're going to talk about how to enter and exit a trade in another class, so I can just wait. I was just curious tonight because, most times you think when something is going down, you're losing. So I can wait or you can answer it. It doesn't really matter to me because I'll probably ask it again later.
Good. Now you got me curious, Pam. What's the question?
Oh, so the question is, in that hog trade,
Mhm.
how do you know when to get out of the trade since it's going down? That was my question.
Oh man,
That's a
yeah,
very good question.
very good
I
question.
know, that's an excellent question.
Excellent question.
Okay.
Oh man, so do you remember, Pam? Do you remember when we had the lesson a couple weeks ago when we first looked at charts for the very first time,
Yes, I
and
do.
we did something. We talked about something where we had a formula that we could figure out a certain level on the chart. It was called 50% retracement. Do you remember that?
I was probably late to the class and you may have already covered it because I don't remember that. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a particular strategy that we use for our exit strategy,
Okay.
and it's going to be based on something called 50% retracement.
Okay.
And I'm sure you'll be seeing more about 50% retracement on future training that we'll be doing. But that's what we use as an exit strategy, and something that markets and charts do all the time, over and over and over. And we're able to use that as our target beginning the trade. But yeah, you're right. It's gonna be something we're gonna be going over quite extensively.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Great.
But you
Just
said
wanted to
something
make
that,
sure that, I was understanding, reading the charts first, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm in this trade, how do you know to get out? But I got it. It's coming.
yeah, and you said something else that was important that we, matter of fact, let me tell you, it's actually the most challenging thing we have on the calls is trying to understand how in the world you making money when the market's going down, right?
Right.
And we mentioned, me and Dr. Miller mentioned that we're currently in this trade, and you're looking at the trend, and the trend is in a downtrend, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so you could be sitting on this call saying, "Well, look like Devin and Dr. Melvin losing money because the market going down." But you remember the quiz question?
Yeah. Which one?
Uh, when you want to trade the market up, when you want to go long in the market, what kind of order do you place?
Long you do a buy.
Buy order.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you want to trade the market down, we do the opposite,
Right.
and that's what we did. But
Okay.
we're not actually trading the market up; we're trading it down, and we're gonna get into how that looks, how that works. But it's just a matter of learning a new concept that we never understood or knew even anything about, because like you said, we thinking the market's going down, you gotta be losing money. But if you're trading the market down, you're making money. So it's just a matter of us understanding that the bears can make money too. It's not always the bull who can make money.
Right. Understood. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
So
Appreciate
Pam,
it.
always remember the trend is your friend.
Yes, ma'am.
As long as
Got it.
you're trading with the trend, you're
Mm.
making money.
Okay.
No matter whether the trend is going up or going down, as long as you're trading with the trend as your friend, you're making money.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great questions, y'all. Any more questions or comments? Anybody have any more questions or comments? I know we covered some very important stuff tonight. Support, resistance, trend line. Everybody clear before we jump off?
Did you go over reversal? Is that where my understanding limited? Is that where it reverses the direction, or did you cover that?
Yeah, I believe we did.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe I misunderstood then. Help me out, please.
Go back to the chart, Barbara. Okay, do you see the uptrend?
I do.
Okay, you see where those horizontal lines are at the top that she drew?
Yes, I do.
That's where your reversal is taking place, because then all of a sudden you notice it's going in a downtrend.
Going down. Okay.
So that's where we
Understood.
discussed the reversal.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, y'all. Love it. Yeah, we always want to get clarity and make sure we clear before we get off. So I appreciate the questions. All right. So I think it was a great call once again. Great questions and great input. Appreciate it. And watch out for quizzes again. If you are on this call and not in our Telegram group, I'd like to invite you to join the Telegram group. That's where those quizzes are posted. That's where any charts or trades that we watch and make posted. So if you're not in that group, I'd like to give you the opportunity to join the group. Be a part of the community.
I just put the link in the chat. And also to remind you, I posted a survey. We posted a survey this past last week for you guys to complete. Please take the time. I'll repost it again tonight so you'll be able to go in. But it's important to complete that survey so that we can just see where everyone is at. We'd like to see your progress and see who needs help. So please take time this week to get that survey completed. It'll only take you about 2 minutes to do it, but I'll repost it now. So it'll be fresh for everybody.
And what chapter in the manual was the information coming from tonight?
6.
Okay, so for all of you that have the manual, the information that we went over tonight can be found in chapter 6 in the manual. So for all of you that still have a little bit of questions after tonight, you can go to the manual and read lesson 6, chapter 6, and it goes into more detail of what you learned tonight. So always remember that what we cover in the classes is also in the manual, so you don't have to feel lost at the end of a class. You can always go to your manual, and Barb will always post what chapter the information is found in the manual, so you can go there and get further explanation. And if you see something in the manual that you're not sure of, next class, just make a note of it during question and answer. You can even read the section in the manual you're unsure of, and we'll go over it with you. So by all means, use the manual as a great resource to help you learn a little bit quicker.
Very nice. Yes. Yes. All right. Well, appreciate everybody jumping on, and we right at the hour, so let's stay right there on point.